Joined by very key guests. That is actually 2 members of parliament and 1 former government official. And already in studio is Honorable, that is Abraham Kirwa Mosop, member of parliament. Also to join us will be Honorable Dr. John Ariko. He is the Turkana South member of parliament and a member of the Finance and National Planning Committee in the National Assembly. And Zach Kinuthia, former Chief Administrative Secretary, he will be right here to also give us his views about how this government is actually being ruled by President William Ruto. You can also join in this conversation via social media platforms at K24 Tv, at Joel Church, as well on our SMS and WhatsApp numbers, and I'll be sampling some of your feedback before wrapping up New Dawn this morning. Will you also be turning out to participate in the Gen Z demonstrations that have been slotted or planned for today countrywide in all major towns? We'll be bringing you also live updates of those particular demonstrations, which now will be taking place for 3 days consecutively. Day 1, it was in Nairobi, yesterday Mombasa, and today we expect that all major towns will be rocked with these particular protests against what they term as punitive taxes in the Finance Bill 2024. But as usual, let's begin with the newspaper review. And this is Kenya's #1 free newspaper, People Daily. Splashes that Mudavadi's gamble in yet another dramatic move in his political career after the earthquake. Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi to dissolve his ANC party and merge with Ruto's UDA. This being on page 5 of the People Daily, where the Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi yesterday actually made yet another bold gamble in his political career when he moved to dissolve Amani National Congress, that is ANC, and merged with President William Ruto's United Democratic Alliance, UDA, through the name of the new, though actually the name of the new joint political outfit was not immediately released. Mudavadi said the process that is likely to widen the rift between President Ruto and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua is at the tail end and only awaiting legal mechanisms. Sources indicate that some forces within the Kenya Kwanza are pushing for the replacement of Gachagua with Mudavadi as President Ruto's running mate in 2027 after the amalgamation of the 2 parties. The ceremony to announce the move was made at Nairobi's State House in the absence of Gachagua, that is the deputy president, who was in South Africa to represent Ruto at the swearing-in ceremony of President Cyril Ramaphosa. In the proposed arrangement, both parties are expected to fuse and form a new outfit whose name and hierarchy remains to be determined. Mudavadi has urged the ANC members or membership to embrace the idea of being part of a bigger political formation, arguing that the merger was a better informed decision. He also explained that as an appointee of President William Ruto, it was unwise and conflict of interest to continue leading a party that would field candidates against him, that is the president. Mudavadi also told the ANC delegates who have been meeting in Nairobi since Monday, discussing the matter, that after intense reflection, he had decided that the party will be in safer hands under President Ruto. Now, Mudavadi had actually earlier this year told Kenyans to expect yet another earthquake after his first earthquake in January 2022 that saw him drop Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance and join the Deputy President Ruto. The decision was actually announced by the current ANC chairman, that is Lamu Governor Issa Timami, at a forum attended by both Ruto and Mudavadi, who is the immediate former ANC leader. This is as far as the political world is concerned. And still on the same page 5 of the People Daily, Gachagua, Raila join world leaders in Pretoria for Ramaphosa's inauguration. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua was among hundreds of leaders who converged in Pretoria, that is in South Africa, to witness the affirmation of the country's president, Cyril Ramaphosa, yesterday. The DP represented President William Ruto, but remember back home, President Ruto and the Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, they were actually merging their parties. We'll be seeing how Rigathi will be reacting to that when he gets back in the country, whether he'll also go to his village. Of course, leading the team village, that of course being politically or a political statement. Back to the cover page of the People Daily. Actually, before getting to the MP's one, you can now get good conduct certificate in one day. This seems actually to be good news, factoring the time frame that was there for one to access his own good conduct certificate from the DCI, and now the police clearance certificate, formerly referred to as certificate of good conduct, will now be processed within a day from the initial 14 days after the Director of Criminal Investigations, that is DCI, upgraded their system. The DCI boss, Mohammed Amin, has said this will effectively contribute to the clearance of the backlog while also matching the corresponding number of applications to those processed in a day. While the old system was only able to store 2 million criminal records, the new system has a storage capacity of up to 10 million. That's according to the police headquarters. DCI Amin, on Tuesday, presided over the signing of a contract between DCI and one company that actually will enable the upgrading of the police clearance certificate system from the current used automated palm and fingerprint identification system to multi-biometric identification system. We'll be seeing whether that will actually see the light of the day and Kenyans to get their good conduct certificate in just a single day. Now, back to the cover page, which will also form a better part of our discussion this morning, and that is MPs differ as protests escalate over taxes, page 4 of the People Daily, where differences rule Parliament as MPs debate bill. Sharp differences rocked Parliament yesterday as MPs debated the controversial finance bill, with those from the ruling coalition maintaining it was good for the country. Kenya Kwanza legislators, while supporting the bill, defended the Finance Committee for having dropped the otherwise punitive proposals in the bill. The minority counterparts pushed for a total rejection of the bill, saying the clauses that were retained were punitive and not good for the economy and the people. The bill entered its second reading yesterday and will continue today before members vote next Tuesday or Wednesday. And Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah rallied his colleagues to pass the bill, singling out the changes made to the eco-levy and actually as good for the country as it will protect local manufacturers. Minority Leader Wandai, on his part, called for the rejection of the bill, terming it a baggage to the taxpayer. Nominated MP John Mbadi, who is also ODM chairperson, called on President William Ruto to send home his economic advisors, terming them as a liability to his leadership. Deputy Minority Party leader, that is the Honorable Owen Baya, warned that shooting down the proposal in the bill will interfere with financing of the budget, which is set to benefit Kenyans. Now, changes to the bill. In response, Minority Whip, that is Junet Mohammed, said even the changes made to the bill by the committee, the bill still contained proposals that were not good for the economy. We will be seeing how these will actually pan out today in Parliament, even as the debate enters day 2. Also, on the same page, that is page 4 of the People Daily, protesters swarm Mombasa Street to vent tax anger. Protests against the finance bill spread to Mombasa yesterday, with hundreds of youth storming the streets to voice their opposition to the tax measures. A section of members of Parliament, mainly from the opposition, taking cue from the street protesters, also used the floor of the House to tactically oppose or tacitly oppose the bill. A day after hundreds of youths in Nairobi had taken to the street to protest against the bill, their counterparts in Mombasa engaged police in a day-long running battles, at some point storming a police station to voice their opposition to the bill. We'll be seeing today also the protests have been planned for countrywide. We'll see whether they will take place. But all details, of course, will be right here on K24 in the course of the day. Let's now see what the Star newspaper has for us this morning. Ruto headache as anti-tax protests spread nationwide. Analysts warn the demos could spiral into a full-blown uprising. Now, towns where anti-finance bill demonstrations are scheduled today: Eldoret, Kisumu, Laikipia, Nakuru, Nyeri, Meru, Kilifi, and of course, Nairobi's capital, Kenya's capital, Nairobi. All these regions will be having live updates from those particular counties, of course, by our able team, just to see how the demonstrations will be taking place. Twitter power, Gen Z's how we planned anti-tax demonstrations armed with smartphones and well-wishers support. Young people poured into the streets of Nairobi on Tuesday to protest against the Finance Bill 2024. The agitation is a total rejection of the Finance Bill 2024 and newfound political consciousness to defend the Constitution. Actually, at some point, they're even considering now to form a political party. Not sure whether it will be considered as Gen Z political party. It's a matter of wait and see. Well, that's what is on the Star newspaper this morning. On the Standard, which I have on right here, UDA death, Ruto crafts giant party, United Democratic Alliance. The party that propelled President William Ruto to power is on its deathbed. The announcement was made at State House, where it was agreed to follow it up and start new outfits. Now, 159 MPs who were voted in under the Kenya Kwanza umbrella in the last election, they managed to form the majority side with Kimani Ichung'wah as the majority leader in the National Assembly. We'll be seeing how the DP, that is the guy, the Gachagua, will be reacting to this when he gets back from South Africa, where he's presenting President William Ruto during or in an event of that is swearing of the second president of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa. Raila Odinga was also there yesterday. Daily Nation, off the hook, how the former Migori governor, Okoth Obado, recorded a consent at the High Court, giving the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission a go-ahead to take over multi-million shillings assets acquired using stolen public funds. In return, the anti-graft agency has dropped 2 billion corruption cases against Obado and his children. That is what the Daily Nation has highlighted. But let's now focus on this story as far as the anti-finance bill protests are concerned. It was a day long of heated exchanges on the floor of the National Assembly as the Finance Bill 2024 was being debated for day one, where the majority accused the Gen Z for being funded to demonstrate, while the minority warned that it means a new revolution that President William Ruto should be on the watch out. This even as the government is still under fire for sneaking in additional taxes through new clauses such as the road maintenance levy, a move that Azimio MPs say will force them to shoot down the bill. Take a look.
Financing the 3.9 trillion budget for the Kenya Kwanza government could be an uphill task. This comes after the government decided to drop some of the major key proposals that guaranteed a big chunk of revenue collection. However, as Kenyans continue to count their chicks, chances are they are not yet out of the woods as far as tough economic times are concerned, with the Finance Committee working around the clock to bridge the gap.
Even if you say you have removed the ones that Kenyans have complained about violently, then you go to road levy, it's the same thing. Because you see, if you you tax a car and you tax the road, it is still the same thing, because when you're collecting road levy is done through fuel. So it means that the cost of living will remain the same.
The Finance Committee retained tax increment proposals in some key sectors, which is guaranteed to have a ripple effect that will affect the common citizen. This includes an increase in road maintenance levy from 18 shillings to 25 shillings. This came after a recommendation from the Transport CS Kipchumba Murkomen, who argues that it will help raise the collection of road maintenance levy from 84 billion to 115 billion. This will, however, make life more unbearable to the common citizen.
If you increase the road maintenance levy, it will affect the cost of fuel. once it affects the cost of fuel, it'll affect the cost of transport, isn't it? Now, everyone who is doing anything that moves will pay more. Anybody who eats anything that moves will pay more. Transport from town to Githurai will go up. Transport from here to Rongai will go up. Sukuma, which is coming from Mount Kenya to Nairobi, will be more expensive. Tomatoes will be more expensive. Anything that comes from far will be expensive. Even goods coming from Mombasa will be expensive. Clothes that we wear will become more expensive. The shoes we wear will become more expensive. Cost of electricity will go up because electricity is also affected by the cost of energy. So everything will start going up. Inflation will go up. And then Kenyans will put below the budget line.
Empty pockets are bound to still remain empty following the committee's decision to retain a proposal to increase the import declaration fee (IDF) from 2.5% to 3.5%. IDF had been dropped from 3% in the last financial year to 2.5%, and it is 0.5% more compared to the year 2022. The committee argues that with the reduction of IDF, the government lost 10 billion shillings. This means that many imported products, including basic ones such as food and clothing, will have a higher price, which will trickle down to the Kenyan hustlers, who will have to dig deeper to access the goods.
In economics, there's what you call a food chain. If you want to kill me, kill what I eat. So the middle class eat the upper class. The upper class are owners of capital who own banks, who own major companies, who employ us, the middle class. So if you kill them, they'll shut down their businesses and we shall become unemployed, which means we shall die if you kill what we eat. And if you kill the middle class, you are killing the bottom who eats from the middle class. And therefore, that economic philosophy is wrong.
The committee retained the eco levy on imported finished products, meaning products like diapers and sanitary pads will experience an increase.
We are telling Kenyans, it is possible to manufacture our things here. We do not have to import these things from other countries. We can support our manufacturing and make sure that we consume and use only those products that are locally manufactured.
The future of the Kenyan economy is treading on murky grounds with a financial bill that is punching left, right and center. Brian Amwai, K24, Nairobi.
Well, that's a report by Brian Mwai, being reactions to several clauses that have been scrapped off, while a few others have also been introduced. Let's now focus on this story where Parliament debated it on day one.
Just a day after youthful Kenyans have stormed the Nairobi Central Business District to demonstrate against the Finance Bill 2024 that were disrupted by police using tear gas canisters, where majority of them were arrested and later released, this dominated day one of the debate on the bill in Parliament.
The girl told me that she was not in the street concerning the bill, that she was doing TikTok, Honorable Speaker.
That is a joke carried too far. You can crack those jokes elsewhere. You can find a situation where the young people have banned the country based on your joke. Try those jokes elsewhere. Because Kenyans are suffering. Kenyans are tired of being taxed.
Jobs being created, Honorable Speaker, for the thousands of youth who today, Honorable Speaker, are being misled that the only thing that these honorable members can do is to reject this finance bill instead of fixing it.
I've heard the submissions made by Honorable Ichungwa, and I want to say that at first I thought that they were important and detailed. But I've just realized that the important parts are not detailed and the detailed parts are not important.
It's now emerging that new clauses have been sneaking in the bill, despite dropping off the contentious ones such as VAT on bread, which received a rejection during public participation.
Kenyans have made noise and you are reducing these taxes. Then you come up with a clause at the end, the last paragraph of your report. You are going to introduce a new clause to this bill, which was not there, called road maintenance levy.
He should know better that an increase in the fuel prices is contained under regulations on the Kenya Roads Board Act. And therefore, introduction of increase of fuel cannot be done on a finance bill. It is just a matter of simple logic that such an experienced legislator should know, Honorable Speaker.
I'm shocked that the chair of Finance and Planning Committee does not even understand this report.
The imported sanitary towels and diapers being imposed eco levy has also been a heated subject.
Hatuna uwezo thabiti wa kuweza kuwa na sodo, na hivyo basi afya ya kina mama haswa katika mambo ya hedhi itakuwa na matatizo iwapo tutakuwa tumeongeza jambo kama hili.
Mimi nataka niwaambie wa Kenya, mumeuzwa na serikali mliochagua. Shetani yuko ndani ya bill, pesa wamejilimbikizia ya starehe, ya kufanya mastarehe zao. Wa Kenya mmesaulika, sisi upande wetu tunasema mtusaidie kujisaidia.
The minority is calling on President William Ruto to fire his economic advisors for introduction of unpopular revenue-raising measures.
Fire those guys that you have hired who are giving you economic advice. They are not helping you at all. How do you even imagine bringing something like taxing bread?
And the people you have put at the treasury are not advisors, but they are economic saboteurs. Please look for economic advisors to help you govern this country for the remaining period of 3 years.
The debate will continue on Thursday morning ahead of voting next week, Tuesday and Wednesday.
I withdraw.
And apologize.
I don't apologize, Mr. Speaker.
Withdraw and apologize.
You can give the mic to somebody else, Mr. Speaker.
Okay.
And I don't withdraw.
Okay, truncate the mic.
Joel Chacha, K24 TV, Nairobi.
A story that we will still be following up today to see how the two will look like. Still on the same breath, the young generation, popularly known as Gen Z, have vowed to continue protesting until the Finance Bill 2024 is dropped. According to them, the Finance Bill is punitive and has not catered for the needs of Kenyans, especially the young generation. They have warned leaders who criticize their online cry as mere chatter, saying they will form their own political party that will see to it that only accountable leaders are elected. Our reporter Harry Chimea spoke to some of the Gen Z Kenyans who took part in the youth uprising and filed the following report.
Different from the norm, this protest was one of a kind as it saw the young people comprised of Generation Z taking to the streets to lament the tax proposals in the Finance Bill 2024. Dressed in their stylish outfits, holding on to their water bottles and phones that were tools of disseminating information, braving tear gas, the Gen Z say they will not stop the demos until the Finance Bill is dropped.
So we're going to be in Kisumu, and we're going to be in Laikipia, and we eat glucose, you know, and we say period, and we do our skincare before we come to the streets. But every single part of Kenya will be protesting. And they need to understand our protest is not just going to the streets. We'll be online in your DMs. We will call you the whole day. We will text you the whole day. This, we don't want an edited document.
No.
The whole thing needs to live.
Yeah.
It needs to kick rocks.
They have criticized the public participation of the Finance Bill 2024, saying there was no proper sensitization or civic education on the proposals to communities.
And also looking at marginalized communities that probably do not understand the complexities of the English that they use in that same bill, but also digitalizing it in images so that people can understand.
Where are the spaces and the platforms that they use that to inform citizens through digital platforms?
Yes.
That process where you sit down and you actually go through it word by word, and there are people and there are civil lawyers and people who can participate and explain what the bill means and take you through the process, we would not be stuck on matters of bread and cooking oil and diapers.
According to them, the most pressing issues have not been addressed.
The content creator, they said they'll increase my tax with a 3%. Mimi hiyo pesa kidogo natoa kwa TikTok ndio naenda kushuka nayo nywele na kutengeneza nayo mkono. I need to be a baddie. This is my generation, tafadhali.
The main context is even in the digital acts that they're bringing up in this bill. It's a fact that we are in a generation of digitalization that you don't want to allow us to have our privacy.
The fact that how are you taxing me at age 25 300 shillings every single month? I don't have a job, but you expect me to pay 300 shillings every single month. Natoa hiyo pesa wapi?
They say this new era of activism will provide a platform to create parties that will elect leaders who do not disregard the welfare of the nation, especially that of young people.
Gen Zs and millennials should come up and sit down and look at the leaders that they can push for the next generation.
Formulate
in
parties.
The election, exactly. Formulate parties of yourselves.
Fund them. Unaona hiyo next time, we rather start parties of our own and we see how it's going to take us, because we are here to vote for the right people.
These protests that were meted with tear gas and arrests have elicited various reactions.
Also, the police that are being sent on the protesters, they should just, you know, chill out, let us do our thing, protect us, because we are the citizens of this country.
Another story was that we were fully sponsored. We weren't. We all came up from matatus and Ubers.
Even before I left my house, I had that anxiety in me. I was just shaky. I was walking around the house like, hey, where, rada. I wasn't like settled, but I just came to a conclusion and said, if I won't go out there, no one will go there for me.
The clear message is that there is nothing for them without them.
Look at the environment. We are talking about difficult economic times. And by the time young people are getting here, it tells you that the environment is not conducive and they feel they want to do something about it. Is there a different way of engaging these young people? Could we meet them and have a discussion? Is there a way that we could actually have a dialogue where we can get a win-win situation?
Harriet Chimea, K24.
Keep the conversation going on that particular story. Gen Z political party, what do you think of it? Will it beat the ruling UDA party and as well as Azimio's Wiper party, ODM party, among others? And of course, I'll be sampling some of the feedback, that being, of course, forming part of a discussion this morning. In studio, once again, I'll have Honorable Dr. John Ariko, Turkana South Member of Parliament and as well a member of the Finance Committee in the National Assembly. Honorable Abraham Kirwa, who's already in studio. He is the Mosop Member of Parliament, and as well Zach Kinuthia, former Chief Administrative Secretary. We take a short commercial break. We'll be back with more. Stay tuned.
When it's a Saturday, there's only one entertainment show in East and Central Africa.